The next step to enter the threshold is writing. Obviously, having finished learning reading or having got into the habit of reading, the next step you have to do is, which is more difficult, which really have to put in hard work to learn, is the skill of writing. Before you start writing, before you start learning how to write, you have to learn something called telling stories. Because finally in filmmaking, all you do is to tell a story. To tell a story, of course, you need the entire crew. You need so many members to work in your crew to tell your story. Though you are going to be the final author of telling the story, you need lots of technicians, otherwise many other members. So first, how to write a story? No, not writing a story, how to tell a story. Because when you have a great idea, great story, what you would do first? You would tell your friends, hey man, I have a nice idea, I have a nice story. Having read something in the newspaper, having read something in the book, having heard something, then you would have developed a story. You would tell your friends, you are excited, you wanted to transform that excitement into a story, or you want to transfer that excitement to your friend. Hey man, this is a story, I have it. Then your friends say, man, great story. Then you get confidence, not bad. Then you would start telling many other people. Most of them like the story you are narrating. Then you really, you would think about narrating this story to some producer, to someone. You go, that's called pitching. Pitching in essence means to impress upon the listener. It may be oral pitching, or it may be a pitching with some audiovisual aid. No, normally the pitching is done orally. There are different levels of pitching happening. Basically in terms of the time that is given to you to pitch it. Very rare people give you the whole lifetime or give you hours. When you go to a producer's office or when you meet someone who might be interested in producing your idea story, you would say, okay, come over, come and sit in front of me, tell you a story. You would say, you are given 5 minutes. First tell the basics story. If I am impressed upon, then I will listen more. First 5 minutes if you impress me, you might listen to you another 20 minutes or another couple of hours. But the first 5 minutes is the most important thing, how to tell a story. So, then your mind really goes for a sex, then you really practice how to impress upon the producer, listener. Then naturally the way you construct your sentences, the way you bring out the story element in the 5-minute narrative, that narrative, the way you narrate it is what important. It is not the question of using the words, or it's not the question of forming sentences, but the way you narrate the story is what very important. I'm not saying that you have to perform. Sometimes it helps. Like a theatre person, you perform the way you narrate the story. Without your knowledge, you use the modulation. You bring out the emotions of the story, the way you use your modulation. All these things very naturally would happen in the pitching. You can't pitch it, very in a dead tone, in a dead voice. The tone is very, very important. And these different levels of pitching I'm talking about. The first level of pitching, normally they call it in Hollywood or elsewhere. Even here you can call it, a term is a term. Elevator pitching. What is elevator pitching? You just get in elevator in the first floor or in the second floor. You meet someone, some producer, someone who is interested. Before you reach the 14th floor or 20th floor, he might give you a time because he has nothing else to do. Whatever that few minutes, 1 minute or 2 minutes is with you in the elevator with no one else, you might ask him, sir, I have a great idea. May I tell you the story? You would look at the watch. Can you tell the story before I reach my 14th or 20th floor? Yes. In that 1 minute or 2 minutes, you impress him upon the way you narrate it. Then he would say, hey man, not bad. Then call my secretary next week. Come and meet me. I'll give you half an hour. Narrate it further. So the shortest time given to you, you should be able to tell the story. That's called elevator pitching. But the pitching is the same, whatever the time you are given. If you are given 1 minute to impress, if you are given 2 minutes, if you are given 20 minutes, if you are given 2 hours, you have to have the same capacity to narrate it. That's called elevator pitching. Then the producer, because today people have lost their patience. Nobody has time. I mean, in an inverted sense, not that everyone is so great or everyone is so busy. It's not that. Somehow, by nature, by the kind of life we live today, many do not have enough of time to listen to you, listen to your stories for hours. So you always should aim narrating your story in the shortest time possible. For example, James Cameron, one of the greatest box office artistic director from Hollywood, when he pitched his idea for Titanic, what did he say? He was already a big director. But even today, however big you are, when you want your studio to produce your film, you have to narrate, you have to pitch it. Then for Titanic, James Cameron went and told the studio, my next film is about, you know what? He asked them, do you know Titanic ship? They all said, yeah, we know. A film already been made, Titanic ship, in black and white in 50s. No, that's not the film I'm making. You all know Titanic ship? Yes, we know. Do you know Romeo and Juliet? Yes, we know Romeo and Juliet. So many films were made on Romeo and Juliet. Yes. I'm not going to make a film on Romeo and Juliet. Cameron said, I'm going to make a film, Romeo and Juliet in the Titanic ship. Wow. Producer said, fine, go ahead, over. The 2 minutes pitching, he got the project. Now, if you're a very young person, if you're a student who's trying to make a film, who's dying to make your first short film or first long film, you have to practice this, telling the story of yours, how to impress upon. First start practicing telling the story you have with your friends. See how their face reaction, how they listen to you, how much they get engaged with your story or how much they get bored with your story in the 4th, 5th minute. All you have to study, by the way, when you narrate it. If you find 70-80% of your friends are quite impressed with your story, then you attempt pitching with professional producers or studios. Then, that's how the pitching is very important. For that pitching, the writing process is very important.